The sound of the slap cracked through the first-class cabin like a gunshot. Conversations died mid-sentence. Heads snapped around. Everything froze. Flight attendant Vivian Matthews stood, one hand still raised, breath caught in her throat as the full weight of what she'd done settled on her face. Her eyes widened in horror. The toddler she'd just struck 4 years old, maybe younger, stared up at her in stunned silence for a moment before the wail came. Piercing. Gut-wrenching. His small hands clutched the seatbelt as fat tears rolled down cheeks that were still soft with babyhood. He couldn't have been more than 3.5 feet tall. His legs barely dangled past the edge of the seat. A stuffed lion sat beside him, forgotten. His face crumpled not from pain, but confusion. Fear. What the hell did you just do to my son? The voice didn't roar. It came low, controlled, deadly. Vivian turned slowly. Her knees weakened. A man in a tailored navy suit stood behind her, towering, composed but ice-cold. He looked down at the sobbing boy, then up at Vivian. His eyes didn't blink. His jaw twitched once. That was all. Sir, she began, fumbling. He kicked the tray table and spilled. Do you know who I am? He asked calmly. Vivian blinked. Sir. I can explain. I didn't realize. That's my son. My 4-year-old son. He stepped forward slowly. And you just hit him. Passengers had begun to murmur. Phones lifted. Recording started. Some faces registered confusion. Others disbelief. Some outrage. The boy's wail quieted to sobs as his father knelt in front of him, wiping his cheeks gently with a linen handkerchief. It's okay, champ. I've got you. He stood and looked at Vivian again. This time his voice dropped even further. You don't know who I am, do you? Vivian's lips parted, but no sound came out. The man turned and gestured toward the front. Captain, he said calmly, I'd like a word before takeoff. The pilot, a gray-haired man who had just emerged from the cockpit to investigate the commotion, stepped forward. Sir, what's the issue? This flight attendant just struck my child. The pilot's face paled. I'm sorry, what? He was sitting here quietly. He may have bumped the tray table. That's not the point. She raised her hand to a child. Vivian's eyes darted from the captain to the man, then to the other passengers, who were now capturing every second. One man in business class whispered, Wait a minute. Isn't that? The father straightened and reached into his pocket. He pulled out a leather card holder and handed the pilot a black titanium business card. The captain read it. Blinked. Read it again. Oh God, he muttered. The card simply read, Jackson West, Chief Executive Officer, Vanguard Air Group. Vivian's stomach dropped. Vanguard Air Group, parent company of this very airline. The man whose child she'd slapped was the CEO of the entire operation. The pilot turned to her slowly. Vivian, you're dismissed from this flight. Immediately. But Tu didn't know, she stammered. Doesn't matter, Jackson said. You shouldn't raise your hand to any child, especially not mine. Vivian's legs moved like wet concrete as she walked toward the galley, tears beginning to form. A supervisor appeared moments later and took her by the arm. Meanwhile, Jackson lifted his son into his lap and held him gently. The boy curled into his chest and let out a tired hiccup. It's okay now, Jackson whispered. Daddy's got you. The captain approached a nearby passenger, quietly asked if they'd mind switching seats to give Mr. West more space. The passenger stood immediately. The plane, which had been frozen in stunned silence, slowly came back to life, but not quite the same. Conversations resumed, softer now. Flight attendants moved more carefully. And everyone, absolutely everyone, kept stealing glances at the man in seat 1A. News of the incident spread mid-flight. By the time the plane landed, the story had hit social media. The video of the slap captured by a teenager seated 2 rows behind was trending within the hour. CODAD and first-class slap exploded across every platform. Vanguard Air Group's internal PR scrambled to issue a statement. But Jackson West beat them to it. He posted a single tweet. My child was physically struck by a member of our crew tonight. While I believe in discretion, silence cannot excuse abuse. Immediate actions are underway. No child deserves to be hurt by the very people tasked with keeping them safe. He didn't mention his title. He didn't threaten lawsuits. He didn't have to. By morning, Vivian Matthews had been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. But the outcry didn't stop. Passengers began to share their own stories: rude crew, unfair treatment, racial bias. What began as a slap ignited a corporate firestorm. By the end of the week, the airline's board issued a public apology not just to Jackson, but to passengers everywhere who had experienced misconduct. Jackson didn't ask for compensation. He didn't threaten to fire anyone personally. He simply showed up at headquarters the following Monday and requested a closed-door meeting with the executive team. What happened in that room was never officially disclosed. But by Tuesday, 5 policy changes were announced. Zero tolerance for physical contact with minors. Mandatory de-escalation training for all flight crew. 24/7 live oversight review on all first-class cabins. Real-time complaint tracking. Whistleblower protection for internal staff. Passengers applauded. Stockholders breathed sighs of relief. Vivian Matthews later issued a statement of apology through her lawyer. "I regret my actions deeply and understand the pain I've caused." But she didn't get her job back. Jackson West didn't pursue public humiliation. He didn't hold press conferences or do morning talk shows. He just flew home with his son. That Friday, he posted a photo of the two of them building a model airplane together in the garage. The caption read, "Real power isn't in how loud you speak. It's in how well you protect what matters most." The photo received over 2 million likes. The little boy in the image was smiling again, and the world was watching. The slap that was meant to silence became the spark that forced an entire industry to listen.